Hi, today I'd like to address a very key question when it comes to SAP, and that is why did SAP invent SAP Cloud Platform? If you've been involved with SAP at all, you realize that we're very thoughtful in our approach. We have lots of architectures, we have lots of roadmaps, but a problem is that sometimes as we delve through all these different deep dives to come up with a plan that helps your enterprise, we miss talking about how do you maximize the value of your investment in your enterprise systems. So I'd like to take a quick step back and really discuss how all this comes together. First and foremost, SAP believes that the whole must be greater than the sum of the parts if you're going to get maximum value from your enterprise systems. This is a key tenet of ours since the day we were founded, where we thought that enterprise resource planning systems should all work together to ensure that your business processes flow as they should. Today we have a new issue, really. I mean, you've heard this phrase in millions of different ways, but the truth is, data is truly the new oil. Data driven decision making promises to change how enterprises work. The problem is that transactional data is much smaller than big data that's depicted here by the sun. This is kind of in truth, this is about the size of the difference. And everybody realizes how much we've struggled with just managing the operational data well. So when I ask customers, what's the number one question that they are facing today? It isn't really just, are we moving to the cloud? Or are we going to improve 10%? The real issue is, will you leverage or must you leverage all your data well to remain competitive? And are you going to become a real-time enterprise? The problem, of course, then creates different steps that must be done, right? The first thing you got to do is integrate operational data with big data so that when something is happening outside the transaction, you understand why it's happening. There's a whole new realm of data as well, right? So today, we're talking a lot about experience data where we ask the customers, how was their experience? We ask employees, how was their engagement? This is a third key piece of data to make sure that we can tie it all together. Now, how do you find the signal from all the noise comes down to, it's not humanly possible when you look at the size of the data. So you have to use intelligent technologies like machine learning and AI and chatbots and predictive to be able to find that signal from the noise. And then, of course, regulations around privacy policy are coming at us left and right, right? You got GDPR from Europe. You now have California privacy, and there's promises of much greater attention to data privacy and not only of the consumer, but of other businesses as well. So the real trick is, how do we get to this data-driven innovation cycle that's been promised for a long time but really not delivered? The truth is, if you look at the study by KPMG, almost all customers recognize the importance of connecting operations with experiences and learning from the data as it happens, right? A lot of different companies are disrupting what they're doing to try to get to the next promised land, right? You have to continuously innovate, continuously experiment to get from point A to point B. The minute you realize that, ground zero is really this problem, right? We've built IT systems that are rather complex. Over 40 years, different individual departments made individual decisions and added more and more to the technology nightmare, right? They threw a lot of these applications over the wall and said, hey, IT guys, can you make this work with the rest of the world, right? But unless we solve this complexity hairball, it's going to be incredibly difficult to make your enterprise nimble and be assured of your competitiveness. Of course, things aren't standing still as well, right? Gartner looks at app demand and realizes that it's growing 5 times faster than IT can deliver with current methodologies. Our main message is, don't repeat the same mistakes twice. We got to this hairball because it made sense at the time. But what we really need now is a new playbook for information technology. When I look at this chart, what I really see is what looks like the inner workings of a Swiss watch, right? All these different gears all working together. The trick, of course, is that as you change, as you try to adapt, you're scared to change one of these gears, because if you change it wrong and suddenly your system doesn't work right, you might not be able to report your numbers to Wall Street on time. What we really need is a new model. And that model looks a lot like the watch is currently on your wrist, right? On your smartwatch, are you ever concerned if you download a new fitness app that suddenly core timekeeping or core calendar or text messaging is going to stop working? And the answer is no. Why is that? Well, The truth is, right, there's secure APIs. The core functionality is protected from all these other innovations that surround it. This is the exact same model we need for IT as well. Of course, breaking an old model is always going to require leaders to follow their instinct because you can always be convinced to do the same thing you did last year. The problem is that if you do that, you might find yourself left far behind. Here's the good news. SAP has this experience in our own shop, and we earned it through a lot of trial and tribulation, right? We kind of made our own problem. We went on a shopping spree. We bought companies like SuccessFactors and Ariba and Fieldglass and Concur. And this resulted in a lot of transformation of our back-end systems. In the meantime, 90,000 employees didn't want to wait for multi-year transformations before they could check their pay stub on their mobile phone, right? So how could we possibly continually innovate for our front-end employees while doing these back office transformations, right? So what we really needed was to be able to take everything and make it mobile. We wanted a common Fiori launchpad, so it didn't matter what you clicked on, it just went to the right system, right? We wanted to use things like machine learning and chatbots on the front end as well. So we introduced Cloud Platform specifically so we could keep our back office systems on their own schedule, doing their own projects, and pristine so they could be upgraded later while we innovated on the front end experience in an almost continuous fashion. We then did something really special. We took our best practices and our best technologies and we bundled it up into this product called SAP Cloud Platform because we realized that our customers needed this exact same tool, this ability to abstract that back office from the front office. Cloud Platform gives us this ability. Its number one mission, in truth, is to keep that core pristine, secure, and upgradable. Of course, we want to deliver on what we believe is the most important promise of enterprise systems, is that the whole must work together and be greater than the sum of the parts. What that really means is taking off-the-shelf software and customizing it as needed to fit your operation. We call that extend, but basically you take an HR package and then you add extensions to it to make sure that it accommodates what your business needs. Almost as a side effect, we created this incredible place where you can build new innovations quickly and hook it to the rest of your enterprise. And then perhaps most importantly, you're now able, because everything's kind of modularized, you're now able to insert AI, ML, chatbots, predictive, all these other advanced technologies into existing business processes. In the past, lots of innovation happened. It was always a stand-beside system. Oh, move all your data to this server and suddenly we're going to be able to do some analytics for you. But it didn't become part of your business process. And that truly is the next promised land. So what's the key difference if you use Cloud Platform versus other technologies? The truth is you'll be 3 to 5 times more productive. The best way I can describe this is with an analogy. So imagine that your boss comes by and gives you a project. And that project is to build a Lego city on this conference table. And of course, he gives you a deadline because that's real life, right? He says, I want to get this done by next week. My question to you is, would you be better off starting with pre-built kits? Well, here's a Lego kit for a skyscraper. Here's a Lego kit for a bus station. Or would you be better off starting with the absolute, unengineered raw components, the Legos themselves? The answer, of course, is that if you have a 1-week deadline, you would want to use the kits. That's the exact same case with Cloud Platform, right? All these things in purple that I show here are these pre-built kits. So let's say you want to create a portal that's available in 5 different languages, has some built-in analytics, some built-in predictive, and uses a database in the sky, right? All these components are 85 to 95% written for you. The developer uses the components in yellow to assemble this next solution. This is exactly how we deliver daily innovations to 90,000 employees, over 400,000 customers, and almost 20,000 business partners, right? It all runs on top of your favorite infrastructure. So for example, if your company is committed to Amazon AWS, or perhaps Microsoft or Azure, or Google Cloud Platform, we have enabled SAP Cloud Platform to run on top of any of these infrastructures, and that is enabled through open source such as Cloud Foundry. What it lets you really do is integrate all these different properties and assets from SAP that you've purchased with a lot of third parties, because in truth, there's always something in your enterprise that needs to talk back and forth, right? Above everything else, the big difference between us and all these other technology clouds is that you don't start with the raw Legos. You start with these kits that let you assemble solutions that matter to your business. Why is this so important? Well, the truth is the pace of change is incredible, right? Gartner is predicting there's going to be more change in the next 5 years than in the last 50. This quote has really stood the test of time. It's from Charles Darwin. It's not the strongest or most intelligent species that survives. It truly is the companies, the species that are most adaptable to change. We suggest putting SAP Cloud Platform on your favorite hyperscale infrastructure cloud like Azure or like AWS, right? When you do that, you're going to get the best of both worlds. You're going to get the best platform for business processes from SAP, while you also get underlying technology platforms that are best for IT challenges like expanding storage or starting up a new data center on the West Coast, right? This is all part of what we're calling the Business Technology Platform. And SAP Cloud Platform is a key pillar of this, right? The whole idea is that you've got this platform that is targeting solving business problems and business outcomes that resides on your favorite infrastructure cloud. Let me give you just one example so you can kind of get your hands around what this really means, right? So imagine that you'd like to see how your business processes are running today, right now, live processes in your business, right? There's lots and lots of different components that would have to be put together, from RPA to process management flow to all this process intelligence to all these different components would have to be baked and make sure that it all works together. This is exactly the kind of business problem that Cloud Platform is made for, right? We have process visibility, which lets you see a process as it runs across different applications, both SAP and non-SAP, both cloud and on-prem. A person that's working within the process can get a dashboard and see how the process is running, and then double click and dive into transactions to see where potential holdups or problems are occurring, right? So Business Technology Platform is completely different. We're solving different problems than Amazon. Amazon's worried about how to expand your storage. We're worried about how well your order to cash is running, right? So the key components, the 7 major areas of our Business Technology Platform are, right? You got these pre-built services. I've talked about that already. These are the pre-built Lego kits in an open architecture to make sure it all works together. It's designed to combine not only your operational data with big data, it's also designed to include your experience data so you get the entire picture of why something is happening in your enterprise, right? It's got embedded analytics directly in the process. So you're not just moving data off to some other server and then trying to come up with an insight that may be weeks old, right? This is part of the entire process. It offers protected data and ability to overcome any kind of privacy policy that's put in by governments. Ultimately, it changes you from looking in the rearview mirror to looking at your front windshield, right? You get real-time, accurate insights as to what is happening in your business and why. We do this by combining these advanced technologies like machine learning and AI with all the expertise necessary to be able to deliver and extend your processes. So now the insight can actually become actionable right away. So let me give you a quick couple of customer examples of companies that have really done this right. Vestas is the company that builds more of these wind electrical generating turbines than anybody else in the world, right? They had a very legacy core. And as a result, almost every process, whether it was constructing one of these Goliaths or actually servicing one of these Goliaths, ran on paper, right? So the CEO was terribly frustrated. He's like, how do we get from where we are today with a legacy core system of financials and stuff like that, and all this paper-based stuff, and how do we become a truly adaptable modern enterprise, right? So they took Cloud Platform, they did the exact same thing, it was the exact right thing that it was invented for, which is abstracted that core system, right? They used all the newest tools in the cloud to develop iPad applications and iPhone applications and Android applications to suddenly, in less than a year, absolutely become a leading edge company, right? Another great example is the San Francisco 49ers. The way they used to run is they would have a game, and then 48 hours later, they would get a report and see how they did. And then they would try to adjust in the next 3 or 4 days before the next game came along, right? They decided they had to go real time. So they took Cloud Platform and they integrated all these third-party pieces of software, whether it was Twitter and seeing what the customers were saying on Twitter, to readings from the parking lot, to readings from the ticket gates, to all that kind of stuff. And they transformed their stadium, Levi Stadium out there in California, to become real time so they could actually see that the hot dog lines were too long or the food wasn't fresh enough at a specific station. They could actually hustle more people there to fix it during the game, right? So it just changed the entire way that they operate, and the fan experience absolutely got better for the San Francisco 49ers. A third example is Love's Travel Stops, one of the largest operators of truck stops across the country, right? They wanted to develop many apps more quickly. One of the key components of Cloud Platform is that you can assemble these applications much more quickly and save a lot of time and actually create reusable parts for the future. So they added rapid application development and made sure that they were suddenly propelling themselves into the future because they could adapt to change incredibly quickly. We have lots and lots of customer stories. I've selected just 8 really good ones and put them on this website, sapexamples.com. If you get a chance, please drop by. It's definitely a great place to get an idea of the kind of use cases that customers are creating. The benefits of Cloud Platform are pretty straightforward, right? We simplify your enterprise. We surround that hairball that exists so that you can adapt to change. At the same time, we help you innovate much faster. We keep the core systems pristine so they can be upgraded far more often than once a year. We give you great integration to both SAP and non-SAP components. We allow you to get to the future of a mixed on-premise and multi-cloud future. I mean, that's reality, right? We're not going to turn off all our on-premise systems one day and suddenly turn them all on in the cloud. It's definitely a transition. And above everything else, we enable this era of an intelligent enterprise where machine learning and AI help you get the job done faster. Ultimately, SCP helps you maximize the return on your enterprise systems investment. If you need more information, drop by my personal blog. That's yscp.com. Thanks for your time.